Good day, everyone. One of the last comics that I stopped reading when I dropped the genre was Hellblazer. And since then, the character of John Constantine has recurred in my thoughts over the past 20 or so years. And recently I've decided to just try to get the entire run of the first 300 issues of Hellblazer, and just to read all of them. I'm presently reading the early issues, which I read at the time, and enjoying them, of course, very much, and they hold up quite well after 20-some years, I guess. The first and second issue are somewhere around here, but this is issue number 3. Constantine's just a fascinating character, and the credit goes to Jamie Delano, who I think wrote most of the first 40 issues. Grant Morrison did a few in between, and of course Neil Gaiman. It's number 5. It's a very grim storyline. It's my understanding that Garth Ennis and others who did it subsequently continued that tradition. There's one back here. Issue number 9. Apologize for the glare. Newcastle. Newcastle is a typically disturbing story where you have orgies, incest, and pedophilia. And into that milieu enter John Constantine. The television series was disappointing on many levels. The actor who played him was a good actor. But like a friend of mine who doesn't read the comics, and he asked me, he said, is he supposed to be that hokey? And there was some truth in that, the way the character came across on the series. And the series took this Buffy the Vampire approach to the story, and we have sidekicks and a team, and it's just, there was really no horror in it, even though they tried to do that. So I watched several episodes and just gave up on it. And I'm so surprised that NBC decided to do it. Although they did do a show called Hannibal, which was very disturbing, and I enjoyed Hannibal. So I wondered why they couldn't go in that direction. Well, this is number 18. This is where I'm presently at. So I'm collecting all of them and reading them and enjoying them very much. And discovering many of the others that I have missed over the past decades. If you watch my videos, I've been doing some on Tokyo Ghost, and I've been really impressed by the artist named Sean Murphy. And I learned that he did a miniseries of Hellblazer, City of Demons, with someone named Cy Spencer. I don't know who he is either. I mean, I don't know him at all. Sean Murphy, obviously, I know him from Tokyo Ghost. But this is number 1. Number 2, it's... You have to say Sean Murphy. He draws women really well, which is, of course, very important to me. Number 4. And where's number 5? Oh yes, number 5. With a very Lovecraftian cover. And like I said, he draws women well. There's no exaggeration of that, Mr. Murphy. I've already read this. I got it last week, and I read it just in one sitting. And basically, John has an accident. He's in the hospital. He's unconscious. He's lost some blood, and by some strange coincidence, some doctors that work there are into witchcraft, and they notice that his blood has demon blood in it, and they decide to basically experiment on people by injecting some of his blood into them, which has dire consequences. But that's their intention. They want to bring hell onto London. But Sean Murphy's artwork is, those of you who are much more familiar with artwork than I am, is just very good. Let's see here. Some of it there. And again, it's a very graphic story. But I enjoyed this very much. And in the process of just looking up Mr. Murphy, one of the first YouTube videos that I saw was Sleepy Reader's videos. And he had discussed at that time a book called Punk Rock Jesus. And when I looked it up that it was Murphy doing the artwork, I had to pick it up. And again, I ordered this, and I got this a few days ago. And I've read the first issue, and it's very good. It's number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, 5, and 6. Murphy is a very good writer. I did know he also wrote things, so that he was just an artist. But next couple of days, I'm going to just jump into this and just read all of them while I take a break from Mr. Constantine. And something else I've been picking up is Doctor Strange, the new Doctor Strange. Now, I've commented about this book that it's very disappointing. Aaron is a gifted storyteller. He's got a good pace, and he's interesting. But the humor in the comic and the hipster element dilute any of the horror that is occurring in the book. The artwork is good, by some person named Bacalo, I'm not sure. And over the summer, I came across Aaron's early run on Thor. And reading this particular issue, there are similar plot lines to that Thor story. And I recall from Thor, there was a god who was killing all the other gods. And here you have some ominous presence that's killing people who practice magic in other dimensions, and now it's coming to Earth. Maybe the similarities are just on the surface. But I'll continue to buy the series. I like the artwork. It's not great, but it's interesting. And of course, I'll continue to be annoyed by the writing of Doctor Strange as this Tony Stark-like playboy, which doesn't really work for me. But on Doctor Strange's note, if you like good artwork and good storytelling, the annual Doctor Strange #1 by Mark Wolfman and P. Craig Russell is one that I deeply recommend. Russell is just an underappreciated artist, and he never became very popular. But when I saw Emma Rios, a Spanish artist, I saw her work on some comics. It was reminiscent of his work. I mean, I don't know if she was influenced by him, but it's just one very good stuff. There we go. So this is Doctor Strange Annual #1. And regarding some books, as I'm reading Hellblazer and I guess thinking of Doctor Strange, I think Jamie Delano, who did who did Hellblazer, would be a great writer to do Doctor Strange. And if anything, he would actually make the good Doctor Strange, which is not happening in the current run. But some early writers, the writers who wrote about the supernatural and who had a detective or someone like Hellblazer. One is William Hope Hodgson, and he, I believe, was from Wales. He was a Brit, and he had a detective named Carnacki. And unfortunately for Hodgson, his career was cut short by the First World War. He was killed in combat. His stories, certainly like The Hog, is one of the precursors to Lovecraft. And Lovecraft admired his work very much. Here's another copy of the book, but this is a more recent edition. You can find this at used bookstores. Another writer is Algernon Blackwood, the complete John Silence stories. There's a remarkable story in here called The Victim of Higher Space. Little markings there. Where, John Silence is basically, again, a detective, supernatural detective. People come to him with problems. And one man, when he's so skinny that you don't see him. He disappears because he's so thin. But actually, we think he's very thin, but he's not. He has to stand and sit in certain ways, otherwise he gets sucked into another dimension. It's a very Steve Ditko type of story when you think about it. And when Ditko did his horror stuff, in I guess the late 50s and early 60s. But these are remarkable stories. And the other writer is Arthur Machen, I'm not sure how you say his name. Also another Brit who wrote these supernatural stories. The Three Impostors is one of his more famous novels. Say famous because I guess some people know who that is, but at one point it was quite well known. Guillermo del Toro, the filmmaker, was one day on Charlie Rose, and he happened to throw out the names of Machen and Blackwood and Lovecraft. I don't remember if he mentioned Hodgson. But I think even Charlie didn't know who these writers were. But it was to Guillermo del Toro's credit, he knew who these writers. He knew about their work, and they had influenced them very much. But just wonderful stories. Again, the complete John Silence. And if you see any books edited or written by Joshi, S.T. Joshi, he's an authority on many of these writers, from Lovecraft to Ambrose Bierce, and the Brothers Grimm. And he's just highly reliable, and again, he is someone you can trust. And so that's what I'm presently reading now, among other things. But for now, but if you can get a copy of City of Demons, it's fantastic. The artwork is just wonderful, and of course, Punk Rock Jesus seems pretty unique. Thanks for viewing.